If you're looking for a crop that is used in a ton of different ways in the kitchen and is virtually indestructible, then the allium or onion family is where it's at. So if you're ready, let's get started. And while that intro music plays, go ahead and push the turquoise subscribe button down there. It's super easy. Onions have been in cultivation for over 5,000 years, and it's pretty easy to see why. I mean, in my own household, I can't think of very many meals that don't involve some member of the allium family. Onions, garlic, chives. Now, garlic is planted in the fall, but today we're going to be planting 3 other members of the allium family: globe onions, green onions, and chives. Globe onions, or bunching onions, or what some people call green onions, scallions, or spring onions, can be grown in 2 different ways: from seed or from sets. Now, sets are basically tiny little bulbs or transplants of either one of these. Chives, on the other hand, are typically planted from seed or from divisions of the clumps that they create. I typically grow mine from seed. They seem to have a better disease resistance from seed. They get off to a stronger start, and you have more varieties to choose from. But we're going to start with chives because they're pretty straightforward. You can sow the seed 6 to 10 weeks before your average last frost date, and you can just Google when that is in your zip code. If you're sowing them indoors, you will need them either in a really sunny window, and we're talking 6 hours at least of sun per day, or if you're growing them under grow lights, those need to be on about 16 hours a day, and you want to keep the light about 3 to 4 inches above the tips of the plants. And then raise the light as the plants grow taller. Now, I'm going to be growing chives from one of the Cali Kim seed collections. Chives are actually a perennial. Like I mentioned before, they are divided from clumps. So just like, regular flower or ornamental perennials, every year they get bigger and bigger, and they can be split up and moved around. But starting from seed is the best way to do it when you don't have any of those things. So I'm actually just going to repurpose a 6-pack garden center container. 6 clumps is going to be enough for me. So you always want to use a seed starting mix. It's light, it's sterile, and we're going to just sprinkle a few seeds, maybe 6 seeds in each little cell here, and cover with about 1/4 inch of the seed starting mix. And then you want to set it in a container of water so the soil soaks up water from the bottom and it doesn't mess up the seeds by watering from the top. Keep that soil evenly moist until germination, which should take about a week or 2 depending on temperature and the age of the seed. Now on to the bunching onions. I'm going to be planting Tokyo long white bunching onions. These happen to be from M.I. Gardner. Another thing about growing bunching onions is they don't have to be thinned. They like growing in bunches, hence the name. I'm going to be growing mine in egg cartons because they're not going to be here very long. They're only going to be in here maybe 3 weeks once they start to sprout. So they're not going to get root bound. It just allows me a little more time to be able to wait a little bit before I put them out in the garden. So you want to fill the egg carton with seed compost. And I'm just going to use another egg carton to firmly press it down. And I'm going to sow a few of the onion seeds per cell, probably 6 or 7 seeds. Going to cover with 1/4 inch of soil and keep it moist. They should germinate in about a week or 2. Now, on to globe onions. This is where we get a little more technical because not all onion varieties will work in all locations. The onion variety that you choose has to be determined on your latitude, the amount of daylight hours that your garden gets during the growing season. And this depends on your latitude. I did not take this into account the first year I grew onions, and so what I ended up with was mainly green onions, maybe some tiny, tiny little bulbs. Like I said, the number of daylight hours in your latitude depends on which of the 3 different types of onions you can grow. Now, if you're visual like me, here's a map. Short day onions require just 12 to 14 hours of daylight each day to form bulbs. This happens in the southern regions of the northern hemisphere, not greater than 36 degrees north. Intermediate day onions require 13 to 15 hours of daylight each day to form bulbs. Intermediate day onions grow best between the latitudes 35 degrees to 38 degrees north, and long day onions require 14 to 16 hours of daylight each day to form bulbs. Long day onions do best north of the 36th parallel or latitude 36 degrees north. So I was growing long day onions when I should have been growing short day onions. The short day onion variety I'm going to be growing was actually a free gift of purchase from Callie Kim, and it's a red burgundy onion. Again, like with the bunching onions, I'm sowing into egg cartons. These will only be here a few weeks before the bed's ready for them, so they don't need a deep root run. And I'm planting a lot, so I don't want to use a ton of seed starting mix by using bigger containers. But with these, I'm only going to put 2 seeds per cell because unlike the bunching onions, globe onions need to be thinned. All of these seeds will be germinating in a week or 2, and they really don't need any fertilizer just to get started, but maybe when they're about 3 weeks, 4 weeks old, you can feed them a half-strength liquid organic fertilizer. So if you're going to be growing onions and it's 6 to 10 weeks before your last frost date, go out and get some seeds, get them planted, because now is the right time. If you learned something, I would love for you to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and if you have any tips, maybe some experience with growing onions in your area, leave a comment down below. We'd love to take a look at it. I'll see you guys on the next video.